Old man Harold Benson was a very rich man. He had houses, cars, lands, hotels, and a big company. But now he was getting old and weak. One day, as he sat quietly in his room, he looked at a family picture and asked himself, "Who really loves me in this house? Who will stay by my side when I'm sick and helpless?" So Harold called his trusted lawyer, Mr. Edwards, and his personal doctor, Dr. Harris, to his mansion. He sat them down in his study and said in a soft voice, "I want to pretend that I'm very sick. I want to see which of my 3 beautiful wives truly loves me, who will care for me if I'm dying." The lawyer looked surprised but nodded. "That's a wise idea, sir. But please hide part of your money. I'll open another account for you and move half of your wealth there, so if anyone is pretending, they won't find everything." Harold smiled and agreed. The doctor also nodded. "I will tell your wives that you have cancer and only 6 months to live. I'll act like it's true." And that was how the plan started. The next morning, Harold began to cough loudly. He stayed in bed and stopped going outside. He refused to eat well and looked very weak. His 3 wives, Evelyn, Margaret, and Sophia, all became worried. "Let's call the doctor," Evelyn shouted. Soon Dr. Harris came and examined him in front of all 3 wives. Then he looked at them with a sad face and said, "I'm sorry. Your husband is very sick. He has cancer and may not live longer than 6 months." Everyone gasped. Margaret cried out loudly, "No, Harold. Please don't leave me." Evelyn and Sophia also looked shocked, but as days passed, their true colors began to show. In the first few days, all 3 wives acted like they cared. They brought him food, checked on him, sat beside him, and said sweet words. But after a week, things began to change. Evelyn stopped coming to his room. "I can't watch him suffer," she said. "It breaks my heart." Margaret said she was too busy to stay long. Sophia claimed she had urgent social engagements to attend. Harold watched and took notes silently. Meanwhile, he noticed who stayed and who left. Evelyn started focusing more on managing the luxurious mansion and throwing lavish parties. Margaret began spending money recklessly on designer clothes and jewelry. Sophia was often away, attending charity events and mingling with influential people. The only one who stayed by Harold's side all day was a loyal housemaid named Lily. Lily would feed him, clean his room, sing for him, and even sleep on the floor beside his bed. One day, Lily held his hand and said tearfully, "Sir, I will never leave you. I'll be by your side through it all." One evening, Lily approached Evelyn and said, "Maybe we should take him abroad for treatment. There might be hope." But Evelyn shook her head coldly. "No, it's too expensive. What if he dies there? We'd waste money for nothing." That night by Harold's bedside, Lily wiped his forehead gently and whispered, "I'm here, sir. You are not alone." Unknown to everyone, Harold was still watching, listening, and pretending. Every morning the Benson mansion was quiet, too quiet. Upstairs in his big room, the old man lay helpless on his soft bed. His face looked tired. His cough was deep and dry, like something inside him was breaking. His lips trembled as he whispered, "Thank you, Lily, my faithful one." Meanwhile, downstairs, Evelyn threw a big party, inviting friends and boasting, "Soon everything here will be mine." Harold remained silent but observant. One morning, Evelyn stormed into the company office with some papers and told the managers, "I think you should all prepare for me to take full control of the company." But the longtime company manager, Mr. Collins, stood up respectfully and said, "Shouldn't we wait for Mr. Benson's official word?" Evelyn slammed her hand on the table. "Are you questioning me? This company belongs to me now." Soon, Evelyn fired some loyal staff and started making reckless decisions. Margaret also withdrew large sums from the company account for her personal use. Sophia arranged expensive events with company funds. Harold's company began to suffer. Bills piled up, profits dropped, clients left. Despite all this, Lily stayed loyal, caring for him day and night. One evening, Lily heard loud voices downstairs. It was Margaret and Sophia arguing over selling a piece of land Harold had left untouched for years. Margaret said coldly, "Why keep it? This old donkey won't live long. We should sell it now." Sophia replied, "Let him die first. Then we sell everything." Harold's heartbeat quickened, not from sickness, but from the pain of their coldness. That night, Lily sat by his bedside, softly feeding him pap and wiping his face. "You are the only one who truly cares," Harold said weakly. Days passed. The company's condition worsened under the wives' mismanagement. Evelyn proposed selling the Grand Hotel, the pride of Harold's empire. At a family meeting, Evelyn announced, "We must sell the hotel to save the company." But Margaret interrupted. "You mean the one Sophia already sold?" The room went silent. Harold, lying weak upstairs, smiled faintly. He whispered, "Let them show their true colors. I'm still watching." One day, the family lawyer, Mr. Edwards, came to Harold's room and quietly said, "Your wives have already started selling your assets, sir." Harold nodded weakly. "Let them. I have hidden the real ownership documents." The truth was, Mr. Edwards had secured all key documents safely away. The wives' greed grew, but Harold's secret protected his wealth. Finally, after weeks of watching their true faces, Harold called a family gathering. In front of his 3 wives, he slowly sat up and said, "I am not dying. I have only been pretending to see who truly loves me." The wives gasped. Lily stepped forward and said, "Sir, I was the only one who stayed by your side." Harold smiled faintly. "Yes, Lily. You are the only one who showed real love." To Evelyn, Margaret, and Sophia, he said firmly, "Your greed, neglect have shown me the truth. From today, I will redistribute my wealth to those who truly deserve it." Harold's eyes gleamed with quiet power as he addressed the stunned crowd. "My wealth is vast, yes, but it's meaningless if surrounded by betrayal and selfishness. Evelyn, Margaret, Sophia, your actions speak louder than words. You chased wealth and status, forgetting loyalty and love." Evelyn's face twisted in anger. "You tricked us. We cared for you. Don't act like we're monsters." Margaret wiped away a bitter tear. "I only wanted to secure our future. You abandoned us when you chose to isolate yourself." Sophia's voice cracked. "Maybe we made mistakes, but we are still your wives. We deserve a chance to prove ourselves." Harold shook his head gently. "No, you have lost that chance. I have decided that Lily, my loyal housemaid, my true friend, will be the executor of my estate." Gasps filled the room. Lily blinked, overwhelmed. "You?" Evelyn sneered. "You're just a servant. You can't manage a fortune." Harold's voice hardened. "Loyalty and kindness are more valuable than titles. Lily has proven what true love looks like." Turning to Lily, he continued, "I will transfer the majority of my assets to charitable foundations you choose to support and a portion to ensure your well-being." Lily swallowed hard, tears threatening to fall. "Sir, I never wanted your wealth. I only wanted to care for you." Harold smiled softly. "That is why you are worthy. Money is not the measure of a person." Evelyn clenched her fists, stepping forward. "You can't do this. We'll fight you in court." Harold raised a hand calmly. "The lawyer has ensured everything is legally binding. You can try, but you will fail." Margaret's anger boiled over. "You're ruining us. You'll regret this." Sophia looked down, shame flickering across her face. As the wives stormed out, furious and defeated, Harold motioned for Lily to sit beside him. "You stayed when they left. You are family," he said quietly. Days later, news of Harold's decision leaked to the media. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire cuts off wives. Names made heir." The public was shocked. Meanwhile, Evelyn, Margaret, and Sophia struggled with their new reality. Evelyn's lavish parties stopped. Margaret's shopping sprees ended abruptly. Sophia withdrew from her social circle. The trio faced bankruptcy, public scorn, and loneliness. Meanwhile, Lily, though hesitant, embraced her new role with humility. She visited hospitals, orphanages, and schools with the charitable funds Harold entrusted her with. She improved employee wages in the company and restored trust in the brand. Employees whispered, "The company feels alive again." Harold watched with pride from his quiet room, his health slowly improving. One afternoon he called Lily close. "You have done more than I ever expected. You have brought warmth back to this house." Lily smiled. "I only did what was right, sir." Suddenly, Harold's old friend, Mr. Thompson, a retired businessman, arrived. He said, "Harold, your story is inspiring. I want to partner with you to expand your charitable work globally." Harold nodded with a spark of excitement. Together they planned new projects to help poor communities across Africa. Months later, Evelyn, Margaret, and Sophia, humbled and remorseful, sought forgiveness. They met Harold in his garden. Evelyn spoke first, voice trembling. "I was blinded by greed and status. I am sorry for neglecting you." Margaret nodded. "I lost sight of what mattered. Family." Sophia added, "If you can find it in your heart, please forgive us." Harold looked at them carefully. "True forgiveness requires change. I will open my heart if your actions prove sincere." The wives agreed to undergo counseling and community service, hoping to rebuild trust. Lily, ever gracious, suggested, "Let us all work together to heal and grow." Harold smiled warmly. "Together we can build a better future, not just for us but for many." The story ends with Harold's legacy transformed from wealth alone to love, trust, and generosity. Weeks passed after Harold officially named Lily as the heir to his estate and charitable projects. The household settled into a new rhythm, quieter but filled with purpose. Amid the work and healing, a gentle, unspoken bond began to blossom between Harold and Lily. One rainy afternoon, as thunder rolled softly over the city, Harold found Lily in the garden, tending the flowers he loved so much. "Lily," he said, his voice softer than usual, "thank you for staying by my side. You've brought light into my life when I thought all was lost." Lily looked up, surprise flickering in her eyes. "I only did what my heart told me, sir." He took a slow step closer, his frail hand reaching out to brush a wet strand of hair from her face. "There's more to you than just kindness, Lily. You are brave, wise, and beautiful." Her cheeks flushed, and she looked down, shy but warmed by his words. "I never imagined this. Us," she whispered. Harold smiled, his eyes twinkling despite his age and illness. "Neither did I, but sometimes the most unexpected love is the truest." Days later they shared quiet moments, tea by the fire, evening walks in the garden, laughter over shared memories. Slowly their connection deepened, a delicate romance blossoming amid the ruins of past betrayals. However, not everyone welcomed this new love. Evelyn, burning with jealousy and humiliation, plotted to win Harold back. She met secretly with Margaret and Sophia, whispering, "We cannot let that servant take what's rightfully ours. Harold still loves me. I see it in his eyes." Margaret hesitated. "But Lily has been loyal, and she's doing good for the company. Maybe we should focus on rebuilding our lives instead." Sophia nodded. "True. Revenge will only hurt us more." But Evelyn was relentless. She hired private investigators to dig up dirt on Lily, hoping to find a scandal to discredit her. Meanwhile, Lily remained unaware of these schemes, focusing instead on her growing feelings for Harold. One evening, under a sky full of stars, Harold held Lily's hand and whispered, "Lily, would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" Tears welled up in her eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Harold. Nothing would make me happier." Their engagement was celebrated quietly, with genuine joy among the few trusted friends. But as the wedding day approached, Evelyn's investigation revealed nothing, because there was no dirt to find. Instead, the private investigator uncovered Evelyn's own shady past, threatening to expose her in return. Faced with the truth, Evelyn's plans unraveled. In a dramatic confrontation, Evelyn confessed her bitterness and jealousy to Harold and Lily, tears streaming down her face. Harold, moved by the pain but firm, said, "We all deserve forgiveness, Evelyn, but it must come with honesty." Evelyn broke down, finally accepting the consequences of her choices. The wedding took place in a beautiful garden ceremony, simple but filled with love. Harold and Lily exchanged vows under the ancient trees, surrounded by a new family of friends and allies. Together they built a life filled with generosity, compassion, and genuine happiness, proving that true love and loyalty can heal even the deepest wounds. Lily never imagined that her days would be filled with such complex emotions. When she first arrived at Harold's grand estate, she was just a simple woman with a heavy heart and little hope for the future. But as she stood by his side, seeing the gentle kindness hidden beneath his weathered exterior, something inside her began to stir. At night, when the world was quiet and the house asleep, Lily found herself thinking about Harold. Not just as her employer or the man she cared for with loyalty, but as someone she admired and secretly adored. "He's so different from the stories I heard. The cold, distant man, the bitter millionaire." But here, in the soft glow of the candlelight, he was vulnerable, tender, and full of a quiet strength she never expected. She remembered the first time he smiled at her, not the polite smile of gratitude, but a genuine smile that reached his eyes. Her heart had skipped, and a warmth spread through her chest that she hadn't felt in years. Yet, alongside the joy, came fear. Can someone like me, just a simple woman with no family, no fortune, ever truly belong in his world, she wondered, brushing a loose curl from her face as she gazed at the garden outside her window. Every time Harold touched her hand or looked at her with that soft gaze, a mixture of hope and uncertainty swirled inside her. Is this real? Or am I just fooling myself? Her thoughts were interrupted by a memory. The harsh words of Evelyn, the angry glances from the ex-wives, the whispers behind her back. They don't see me as a person. They see me as a threat, Lily thought, biting her lip. But she refused to let their bitterness poison her hope. She found herself dreaming of a future where she and Harold were equals, not just master and servant, but partners in life. A future filled with laughter, shared secrets, and quiet evenings watching the sunset. When Harold asked her to marry him, her heart swelled with a joy so deep it brought tears to her eyes. She wanted to say yes 1,000 times over. Yet a small part of her wondered if she was ready to open herself fully to love and risk losing everything. But as she looked into his eyes, full of trust and love, she knew this was a chance she couldn't let slip away. "I want to be with you, Harold," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Not just as your heir or companion, but as your wife." In that moment, all her fears melted away, replaced by a courage born from the love growing between them. The sun rose gently over the village, painting the sky with soft shades of pink and gold. It was a special day, Harold's birthday, and Lily had planned a surprise that she hoped would fill his heart with joy. She woke early, humming softly as she gathered wildflowers from the nearby meadow, bright sunflowers, delicate daisies, and fragrant lavender, arranging them carefully in a woven basket. She then prepared a picnic, packing Harold's favorite foods: fresh bread, sweet honey, ripe mangoes, and a jar of homemade lemonade. When Harold stepped outside, still rubbing sleep from his eyes, Lily was waiting by the old oak tree near the riverbank, the basket at her feet, and a shy smile playing on her lips. "For you," she said simply, holding out the flowers. Harold's face lit up with surprise and delight. "Lily, this is perfect." Hand in hand, they walked toward the river, the cool breeze teasing their hair and the scent of wildflowers blending with the earthy freshness of the water. They spread a blanket beneath the towering branches of a willow tree, its leaves whispering secrets as the river flowed nearby. As they ate, they shared stories and laughter, their voices mingling with the song of the birds. After the meal, Harold pulled Lily close and whispered, "I have something for you too." He reached into his satchel and pulled out a small wooden box, intricately carved with symbols of the village's history. Opening it carefully, he revealed a delicate pendant, a tiny silver leaf suspended on a leather cord. "I found this in the market. It reminded me of you, strong, graceful, and full of life." Tears sparkled in Lily's eyes as she accepted the gift, fastening it around her neck. They spent the afternoon exploring the riverbanks, skipping stones and sharing secrets, until the sun began to dip low, casting a golden glow over the world. As twilight settled, they sat close, watching fireflies dance among the reeds, feeling that their love had grown deeper, woven tightly into the fabric of that perfect day. As the last fireflies flickered in the gathering dusk, Lily felt a sudden chill, not from the evening air, but from an uneasy feeling settling in her chest. Harold's smile, though warm, seemed distant, his eyes shadowed by something unsaid. "Lily," he began hesitantly, "there's something I haven't told you." Her heart skipped. "What is it?" Harold took a deep breath. "I've been keeping a secret, one that could change everything between us." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, weathered letter, edges yellowed and worn. "This letter, it's from my father. Before he passed, he sent it to warn me about the village elders. They don't want me to marry outside our family line. They believe it would bring misfortune." Lily's breath caught. "But why? It's an old tradition, ancient but powerful. If I go against it, I risk losing not just my inheritance but also my place in the community." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. "So what does this mean for us?" Harold reached for her hand, trembling. "It means I have to choose between my duty and my heart. But I want you to know, no matter what happens, you mean everything to me." They sat in silence, the river's gentle murmur the only sound between them. Suddenly a shadow moved at the edge of the clearing, a figure watching them from afar. The elders. Their love, once a joyful bloom, was now caught in a web of ancient power and looming threats. As the shadow of the elders lingered, Lily squeezed Harold's hand and whispered, "There has to be a way. We can't let old fears dictate our future." Just then, a soft rustling came from the nearby bushes. Out stepped an elderly woman, her eyes twinkling with warmth and wisdom. "I heard your worries," she said gently. "My name is Mama Zuri. I am the keeper of the village's true history, the part the elders try to hide." Harold looked at her skeptically. "What truth?" Mama Zuri smiled mysteriously. "Long ago, when the village was founded, a pact was made, not of fear, but of unity. The elders twisted that pact over time to keep power for themselves. But the original pact blesses love that crosses boundaries, for it brings strength, not misfortune." Lily's eyes widened. "So the elders are wrong?" "Yes," Mama Zuri nodded. "You two embody the true spirit of the village's ancestors, courage, love, and harmony. I have a scroll hidden in the sacred grove. If you can present it at the council, the elders will have no choice but to accept your union." Harold's face lit up. "Then there's hope. Let's find that scroll." Together, guided by Mama Zuri, they ventured into the sacred grove under the silver moonlight. The scroll, sealed with the village's ancient emblem, lay hidden beneath the roots of the oldest baobab tree. When Harold presented the scroll at the next council meeting, the elders' stern faces softened. One by one, they nodded, acknowledging the truth they had long ignored. From that day on, Harold and Lily's love was celebrated as a new dawn for the village, a symbol of breaking old chains and embracing a future filled with hope and unity. And so, their story ended not in sorrow, but in the joyful harmony of love, triumphant. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Turn on the bell notifications for more chilling, heartwarming, beautiful story. Like and share to your loved ones. It is my greatest support and kindness of you. See you on my next video.